Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I am your host, Harrison Graham. Appreciate you guys for clicking on this video here on a Tuesday. We're back with the latest news and rumors. We'll get to some OTA stuff in just a little bit, including hype around this rookie, so stay tuned for that. But first, trivia time here on Bears Now. When was the last season the Bears swept the Packers? Like, what year was it when the Bears last swept Green Bay, aka won both regular season matchups with the Packers? It's been a while. Let us know. Stay tuned until the end of this segment, or later on, could happen at any point. Stay tuned for the answer. When was the last season that the Bears swept the Green Bay Packers? Okay, let's get with story number one. Are the Bears going to make the playoffs? Well, Fox Sports' Nick Wright hopped on First Things First today, the show he hosts for Fox Sports, and said the Bears are going 11-6. He predicted that would be second in the NFC North, also good for a wild card berth. He has Green Bay at 12-5. Now, most national commentators are down on the Bears. I've seen 3-14s, 5-12s, 4-13, 6-11, 7-10. Nick Wright having the Bears going 11-6. I'd say that's a pretty positive outlook. Here's how he has the NFC North playing out. Packers winning the division again at 12-5. Bears sitting there at 11-6. 8-9 are the Vikings, which, by the way, he actually has Minnesota sneaking into the playoffs as well at 8-9 as that number 7 seed. And then Detroit down at 6-11. 3 NFC North teams making the playoffs, according to Nick Wright, which, quite frankly, I think would surprise a lot of people. I think the national media and a lot of folks out there view the NFC North as a 1, maybe 2-team division between Green Bay and then maybe Minnesota. Not a lot of people are high on the Bears or the Lions, but Nick Wright very high on the Bears. He's a Justin Fields believer, as am I. I wouldn't go as far as 11-6, but the schedule isn't that crazy difficult, as it is the second easiest schedule in the NFL, at least on paper. That's based on opponent win percentage from last year. Obviously, things change, the draft, free agency, new coaching staff. So teams that weren't good last year could be better this year. Teams that were good last year may not be as good this year, but on paper, based on last season, Bears have the second easiest schedule in the NFL. I'll tell you this, it's an easier schedule than last year. That I can promise you. So fill in the blank. Nick Wright says 11, but what do you say? The Bears will win blank games in 2022. And I mean the 2022 season, so that counts the January game. That's technically in 2023, but it's this upcoming season. 17 games. The Bears will win blank games this year. I want to know from you guys down in the comments section. Now, today's show is also being published on Rumble, and you guys should follow us there. I get DMs all the time like, hey, how can I help support Bears Now? What are other ways we can help support? And I give you guys a lot of answers. One of those answers is follow us on Rumble, because we're trying to grow over there. If we grow over there, we're growing as a show as a whole, and it allows us to do more content for you guys. Free, uncensored content from us and other content creators out there. Sports, news, politics, tech, business, whatever your flavor is. Lots of good stuff on Rumble. Cool feature on their app as well, if you download the app on your phone and you listen on mobile devices, you can listen to our videos while having other apps open. Unless you have YouTube Premium, you can't do that on YouTube. When you open Twitter, a text that comes in, whatever, the video pauses. You can't keep listening. So on Rumble, you can, and it is free. Plus some occasional Bears bonus videos for you guys. Rumble.com/BearsNow. That is a place to follow us and support the channel. Okay, let's get to the sad news of the show before we get to some OTA news and notes. And I should say a running back formerly of the Bears, Tarik Cohen. Looks like he's injured again. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen the video. Tough situation. So he went on Instagram Live, kind of leaned up his phone against a wall or something at this gym he was working out at. And I'm sure you guys have seen these type of workouts before. It's like a little ladder on the ground, and he's jogging forward. And then as he started jogging back, you hear this popping noise, and he reaches back for his leg and falls down. It doesn't look good. It doesn't sound good. Lots of speculation, which we won't do that. But I will say, when players reach back like that, it's a calf or an Achilles usually. The pop was bad. I feel terrible for him, man. I feel terrible for Tarik Cohen. It has been a very tough stretch for this guy, which, by the way, one of the most enjoyable guys, by all accounts, in the NFL. This is a happy-go-fun guy, and his past 2 years, I mean, you find me someone who's gone through more. Tore his ACL and MCL, With that same injury, he fractured his tibial plateau, which he revealed in his Players Tribune article last week. He's had 2 brothers pass away in the past 2 years, and not necessarily expected deaths either, like things that shocked the family. Injury setbacks led to his release. He failed a physical. Ryan Poles had to cut him loose. And now he's suffered an apparent new injury to his left leg. You find me someone who's dealt with more. Karl Anthony Towns has lost a lot of family members the last couple of years, but you combine the personal demons with his brothers passing away, the injuries he's had to deal with, getting cut by the Bears, a fan base that loves him. And by the way, that was not necessarily the wrong move by Ryan Poles. The guy can't stay healthy. It's just brutal. I feel for the guy, Tarik. If somehow you're watching this, we're with you. Bears fans are behind you. It's terrible, man. It's absolutely terrible, and I wish you a speedy recovery. Hopefully it's not a serious injury, but if it is, we wish you the best. Show Tarik some love if you're watching live right now or on YouTube or Rumble. After the fact, type 29 in the comments. It's the least we can do to support Tarik Cohen, one of my favorite Bears of all time, a fun player, a fun personality. I hope he gets back into the league and at least can find some peace and happiness, because when he wrote that letter to the Players Tribune, you could feel that emotion. And now with this latest apparent injury, it's tough, man. Get the 29s going down in the comments section. All right, let's try and flip the mood around. Let's get to OTAs. 2 OTA practices are in the books. Kyler Gordon hype. Matt Eberflus met with the media after practice today and said, quote, Gordon has been, quote, lighting it up through 3 days of OTA practices, which, number one, you absolutely love to see it. The fact that he named him specifically and said he's lighting it up, I think is significant. And I told you guys on Monday's video, these practices are important because it's a new regime. You got a lot of rookies. You need to get everything you can out of these workouts if you are the Bears. And look, if Gordon lives up to the billing, we know, at least we have a pretty good idea what Jaylon Johnson is and what he's all about. If Tavon Young can stay healthy, he's a good nickel. You got Thomas Graham and Kendall Vilder, Duke Shelley as some depth options. This could be a fun CB unit, and Kyler Gordon, he's got the traits. He had the production last year. He's a freak athlete, and he's already standing out at Bears practices. This secondary has potential to be really good and really fun. Jaquan Brisker at safety as well. I think Eddie Jackson could be a prime bounce-back candidate. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. It's 2 OTA practices, but after everyone freaked out when he had cramps during rookie minicamp, Kyler Gordon's ready to go, and he's lighting it up, according to Matt Eberflus. Now, who's going to have more interceptions this year at the quarterback position? If you think it's going to be Jaylon Johnson, type JJ. If you think it's going to be Kyler Gordon, type KG. I hope they both have a ton, because that's only going to be good things for the Chicago Bears. Get to some roster news here on Bears Now. The Bears tweeted this out themselves earlier this morning. We have signed tackle Shon Coleman and waived punter Ryan Winslow. That happened earlier today, which is an interesting note for a couple reasons. One, I heard the name Shon Coleman. I was like, Shon Coleman, I know that name. Well, he actually started 16 games in 2017 for the Cleveland Browns. The problem is, we have not seen him play in the NFL since, because he's had numerous injuries. He's opted out in 2020 for COVID. He's bounced around since then, so he has not played in a game since the 2017 season. So, reclamation project maybe, who knows. I don't view this as a guy who's necessarily going to compete for a roster spot, but you never know. The more significant one is actually around the punter. So with Winslow being released, I think you've got your starting punter. I think it's the guy you drafted in the 7th round, Trenton Gill, who averaged 45 yards a punt last year for North Carolina State. Looks like he's going to be the guy who replaces Pat O'Donnell, who, of course, signed with the Packers in free agency. So, that's somewhat significant. You're going to have a new starting punter this year, which we knew, but it does appear that it's going to be the rookie, at least at this point in time. We'll see if they bring in someone else for competition, but maybe they like what they've seen enough already, and they're just going to go ahead and roll with Trenton Gill. All right, answer to the trivia question. The last time the Bears swept the Packers was 2007. kind of depressing when you think about it, if we're being completely honest. Hopefully this is the year that it happens once again, because the Packers have done it numerous times since that season. Congrats to everyone who answered 2007, and if not, we'll play trivia again soon, because I think it's a fun thing to do with you guys on occasional episodes.